Hello, it's Sunday on the farm. Nice slow day. The sun's been out all morning. It's noon now, and the sun just disappeared. This is really better light for doing a video. Today I'm working in the Pitahaya plantation. This is a yellow pitahaya. Super sweet, really good. Nothing like the red pitahaya or some of the others I've had that don't really have any taste. This one's very sweet. And this plantation was one of the first things I did on the farm. So it's about 20 years old now, and it's been abandoned for years. It used to produce over a ton a year back when I actually worked here, and I had sheep. I used a sheep fertilizer to fertilize it, and it produced a lot. But then I couldn't afford to keep a worker anymore, and I sold all the sheep, and this was abandoned, and it hasn't been producing. This year it's just produced a little bit, but I'm starting to rework the plantation and try to get better production. There's the fruit. It's covered with thorns, but this fruit, because it's ripe, the thorns just brush off. Usually when I harvest, I use a paintbrush, and I come along and I just brush the thorns off like with a paintbrush, and then you can harvest it. So we have the fruit from the winter harvest, that's just right now. Usually January, February, I have a harvest. And then I have the flowers here coming out for harvest that'll be in August or September. And I have a lot more flowers coming out than I had fruit the last year. So I'm gonna have a much bigger harvest. You can see this flower, see how it's turned pinkish red. That means it's going to fall off. It's maturing very young. It's not going to produce. So that happens on some. I don't know why. I thought it was a boron deficiency, but I tested the soil. The soil has lots of boron. I don't know what it is, but I just live with it. So I'm reclaiming the plantation. From here down, it's planted on trees. I forget what the botanical name of this tree is. I think this relative is called the American coral tree. It has a coral colored flower, very pretty. It's a leguminous plant, and they use it here for fence posts and posts to grow other crops on. So that's what most of my plantation is on. And then for a while I thought, because I've seen plantations on cement posts, so I redid part of the plantation with cement posts. And the pitahaya doesn't like the cement posts as much. Eventually it gets on there, and especially when the post is older and starts to get some moss on it, then the pitahaya can stick to it. It's a climbing cactus. It's a forest plant, and it climbs up other plants. Here's a good example of how it climbs. It sticks. There's little roots that come out, and it sticks to whatever it's climbing. It loves citrus trees. See, there's a big orange tree over there in the distance. It's got pitahaya growing up all in it. It usually produces some pitahaya fruit every year, more than it does oranges. So right now what I'm doing is reclaiming this plantation. So I just clean at the base of each plant, and then I'm putting the screenings for my compost. When I screen out my compost for the potting soil, put it through a fine screen. This is what doesn't go through the screen. And I'm using that to mulch around the base. And it's working. This first row that's finished, there's loads of flowers coming out. This plant barely has any branches, and it has 1, 2, 3, 4 flowers. And the same, all these plants in this row that's been mulched has a lot of flowers. We mulched these rows before, but my neighbor has free-range chickens, and they came down and looked at you see they're digging out here, and destroyed all the mulch, kicked it all away. And this plant has a very shallow root. The roots, here are the roots. See the chickens here, they even knocked away the the wire mesh that I was using to keep them out of the mulch. And here's the root of the pitahaya. So when they do that, they dig up the roots. And here's a vanilla plant, which was planted here as well, and they dug up its root as well. So I'll have to redo this one. But see, it has one good flower, and it has one flower. It's got that pink color. It's going to fall off. That one actually might be ready to come off. Or yeah, see, they just break off. Look at that. Vanilla orchid was all the way up to the top of this tree. It's going to get delayed now since it got dug up by the chickens. So I have to cover every plant. And now I see the chickens have learned how to even move the wires. So I guess I'm going to have to peg those wires down. I just had them laying on top. I guess I'll have to get some landscape staples, which I have. And I'll peg those wires down to the ground so the chickens can't get in there. So that's what it looks like as the weeds start to grow back around it. This one's not growing. So see the roots aren't even reaching the ground yet. So this plant probably needs to be replaced. They will, if they get cut at the bottom, they will put roots down and reach down to the ground again if they have enough life in the plant. So that happens quite a bit though. During cleaning or whatever, the base will get cut and they'll just put down new roots. So here's another one where we planted a vanilla orchid with each one. But the first time we did it and we didn't put the wires down, the chickens got rid of most of the orchids. So I have new ones in the nursery. So with this screenings from the compost, look at that. Everything's starting to put out new branches, new flowers. These haven't been, well, this row hasn't been done. Just the fact that I'm keeping it cleaned, mowed down has helped. The plants are growing better just from that. But the row that's been treated, mulched with the screenings from the compost, it's the one that's by far doing the best. So I'm going to continue doing that. What I do is I just pull the weeds around the base of the plant. I throw those to the chickens. Every day I give the chickens a couple of wheelbarrow loads of just weeds or something green, because my chickens are enclosed. So maybe I'll come out here and clean a couple of plants here or somewhere else around the gardens. I'll usually clean around the edges of the garden because there aren't very many weeds in my gardens. But somewhere I'll come up with some green material every day for a couple of wheelbarrow loads every day for the chickens. So today I'm getting the green material here and then replacing and mulching these 2 plants, now 3 plants, because that one needs to be redone. And that's what I'm doing today. So the pitahaya, I'm hoping when I get this back into production and I have tons of production, I'm hoping to take it to sell it myself in New York. It's a Whole Foods in New York. It goes for $8 a pound, and that's not organic. The exporters here are very particular. The fruit can't have any blemishes at all. It has to be a certain size and weight. They use a lot of chemicals to get them to look like that. One of the growers told me he uses 7 different chemicals between weed killers and pesticides, insecticides, and fungicide. There are some fungus that affect, actually you can see it. Let's find a plant that has a fungus. I just saw it. Here it is. See this plant? You can see how the flesh has turned yellow like that, and well, this one's dried out. It's dead. But that's a fungus that does that. And so they spray them for that. They spray them. The plantations look beautiful, but they're just full of chemicals. Mine looks pretty bad, but the fruit is healthy. And we got some that haven't matured yet. There's the fruit when it's green. Now those thorns don't come off. When the fruit is green, those thorns are very well attached, and they're bad. They're very fine. They have a little hook on the end, so they go into your skin, they break off, and they don't come back out very easily. So during harvest season, you always have something to do, picking the thorns out of your hands. But so that's my pitahaya plantation. I have this one, which I'm reworking. Then I have another, maybe a half acre, or maybe an acre, in the farther back on the farm, in the cut out of the middle of the forest. I have a little plantation that isn't far as long as this one. That's only been planted a couple of years. So between the two, I'm hoping to export and do it myself. Actually go to New York and sell them myself, because the exporters make most of the profit, and they demand perfect fruit, which I really can't do organically. Some of the fruit's perfect, but the percentage would be pretty low of my harvest that they would accept. And they also harvest it very green, so they get a lot of shipping time, so it's not as sweet. There's a noticeable difference between the commercially produced and mine. You can taste the extra sweetness. So that's my plan, is to take this and take it to the United States and sell it myself. What else did I leave out? Oh, just the planting is just cut off any of these branches, and then you let the branch dry for a couple of weeks until the cut heals, and then you just tie it to the bottom of a post, and it roots itself. Or just a piece falls on the ground and it roots in. That's how it spreads in the forest. Usually it'll climb up a tree, and if that tree falls, then it makes contact with the ground. It'll put roots down and look for something else to climb. So this variety, here's another flower that's matured. See, those will just fall off. This variety was found in the forest around the Colombian Ecuadorian border on the eastern side of the Andes. So that's the area where this variety comes from. So it's just a wild variety. There are many varieties of pitahaya. It's just many varieties of cactus fruit, but this is the best one I've ever tasted. Very sweet. And here in Ecuador, there's a town called Palora. If you buy pitahaya in the United States, it probably came from Palora, which is a small town, and it's just huge pitahaya plantations, and then some big tea farms. They grow tea out there. Which one of the big tea companies, whether it's Lipton or I think it was Lipton, they have big tea plantations out there. So the town smells like tea, but that's where I got my seed. And if you buy any of the pitahaya, most likely it came from there. And during the harvest season, this produces twice a year. During the harvest season, they send their good fruit, they export it, and then everything that doesn't meet the quality for exportation, they sell in the local market. So they bring truckloads into our city and sell it dirt cheap, which makes it very hard for me to sell mine at any kind of a profit, which is one of the reasons I feel like I want to export it. Plus I could really use an income. So every time and their harvest is just before mine, I think. So whenever I have fruit, this huge truckloads of, the rejected fruit from the exporters show up and drop the price down to almost nothing. So that's not very good for me. But my clients for my organic vegetables, they will pay the premium. We sell this for $2.50 a kilo, about $1 a pound, a little over $1 a pound. And which is more than double the price that they could pay in the city. But my clients realize the value of organic, so I'm able to sell the little bit of production I have now. I sell easily. But when I start producing tons again, I'm going to need to export it because I'm not going to be able to sell it at a reasonable price here and compete with the big commercial farms. You know, they have hectares and hectares of plantations, and they spray them and fertilize them with chemicals, and you just produce more than I could dream of producing here in my little hand, everything done by hand operation in this hillsides. So I don't know if you can see the view from here today, but if it were marked, you could probably see the equator out there. We're looking north, and you can't see it, but there's a city of about 500,000 people right out there. It's about probably in straight lines, probably 15 kilometers away, and then another, I don't know how far beyond that. I think we're about 30 miles maybe from the equator. We're 0.42 degrees from the equator, whatever that is. But and it's that direction, pointing. That's where we're looking north right now. So that's my pitahaya. That's what I'm working on right now. And if you have any questions, just pop them in the comments and I'll answer them for you. Okay, take care.